This is the first webinar in a series of 3, and we have a slide at the end that will give you all of the dates. All of these webinars are very important. They will all cover different topics, so we encourage you to either set time to join us on the actual dates of the webinars or to look at the webinars later after they have been recorded. Again, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature on the webinar to ask us questions as we proceed. And with that, I will have Ann Stockham Mejia, our program manager over the subsidy program, get started.
Okay, hello everyone. Today I want to introduce you to the Childcare Provider Portal for those of you that are new users or have not logged in yet. And then just give an overview of the portal. I'm going to be going back and forth between the provider portal and this PowerPoint. We'll also be discussing security access rules, how to enter and change banking information, and then just upcoming training that Tracy referred to. To create a DWS provider portal account, for those of you that do not have one currently set up, you need to send an email to occ@utah.gov. This is our provider assistance line. It's important that when you email us to create this initial account that you send it from your email address that you've given to Childcare Licensing, or that you specify within the email account or within the email request that what your Childcare Licensing email account is. You need to include your first and last name and your license ID number. We will send you an email with a temporary password that you can change once you log in, and then you use your username as your email address that you've given to Childcare Licensing. So we're going to go to the provider portal. Just bear with me here as we toggle back and forth. So this is a testing portal. It's not the real thing, but yours should look very similar to this. The URL, if you want to log in on your own, is at home, is jobs.utah.gov/childcare. When you come in, there's terms of use that you need to agree to. And then once you're in, the first thing that I want to point out is that on the right-hand side, it's going to tell you your security access rules. So I'm signed in as a financial administrator. In a few minutes, I'm going to explain to you what that means. But you'll notice that for those that are new, if you go to the My Account tab up at the top, this is where you can immediately go in and change the temporary password that we gave you, create a new password. At that point, you can also change your email address if you prefer to, and you can assign yourself security question and answer. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page. This home page is always updated with new information. We try to keep it as current as possible. Over the weekend, we made several changes to the portal, including security access roles and the direct deposit screens. We have added 2 frequently asked questions that are on the right-hand side in the frequently asked questions area. We're going to be going over these 2 pieces in detail today. Also, because this What's New page is so we always try to keep it updated, we've added a What's New archive in the frequently asked questions as well, if you ever want to refer back to previous information. So up at the top of the screen, we have multiple tabs. I'm going to go to the Children in Care screen. This is where you can see payment information for customers that you're providing care for. We always show the current month and the next month. If you want to look at past information, you can search by all cases in the last 12 months, and that will pull up a longer list of all of your cases. At the bottom of this screen, you can also search by case number or name. If you want to print, you can export to Excel and print into a nice format and manage it the way you prefer to. Also, there's an Actions tab, so if you want more information about a specific case, you can click on View Details. That brings up when the review month is and which children specifically that we're providing care for and other information. There's also other options to report changes to the Department of Workforce Services if a child is no longer in your care, or if there's a credit or a child has never been in care. These questions are going to be changed a little bit in the upcoming months, so in a future webinar I'll go into more detail about what our new process will be. The My Facilities tab and the My Employees tab are very similar. They have the same functionality. The My Facilities is really more beneficial to providers who have multiple facilities and not just one program that they're administering, and it enables them to keep track of employees at different centers or facilities and add users to those different facilities. And so this is what this screen looks like. There's only one center on here. If there are multiple centers, it would show the names of the different centers listed out and the employees that are assigned to each of those locations. If you go to the My Employees tab, again, it's very similar to the My Facilities. You can do the same functions on both. However, the My Employees tab lists all employees for all facilities if you have more than one location. The Reports tab, currently there is one report on there. We will be adding a transaction history report when we go to direct deposit, so I'll explain that at a future webinar. And then here's the Banking tab. And this, if you are a financial administrator, you should be able to see this tab if you're logged in at home. If you are not a financial administrator, you shouldn't be able to see this tab. And we'll come back to this one as well. So I want to spend some time on security access roles. There's 3 security access roles that can be granted. The first one is a facility worker. We have a facility administrator, and then we have a new one that was just added this past weekend, and that's called a financial administrator. A facility worker has view-only access to the children in care information. They can view frequently asked questions. They can send emails to the Office of Childcare through the portal. They can manage their own personal account and password information. Let me make this bigger. The facility administrator is the same has the same access as a facility worker. However, they also have additional access rights, and that includes being able to manage other facility administrators and facility workers. They can add people. They can report changes through the actions that I showed you on the children in care screen, and they can run and view reports. The third one is the financial administrator. And so this is a higher level of security, has the same access as the worker and the administrator, but then it also includes the ability to add and manage other financial administrators and to view, add, change, or remove any banking information. All portal users who were previously granted a facility administrator access were automatically changed to a financial administrator. We have no way of knowing who should and should not have this access, and so for us to be able to allow providers to enter their bank information, we made everyone financial administrators. In most instances, only one person is listed in the portal and is the owner. However, if you are a program that has multiple facilities, different locations, and you've granted multiple users access or within your own facility, you will need to go in and manually change the user's access to back to the facility administrator unless they are truly the person that you want to have the financial administrator role. So again, it's very important that owners ensure that only those whom they want to have the ability to add or change their bank account information have the financial administrator access role. Usually this person is the business owner or an accountant. Also, it's important to remember that when a user is no longer employed at a facility, to remove their access role, you can go in and delete them, and I'll show you how to do that. It's also important that you notify Childcare licensing of changes in directors and owners, because the Office of Childcare uses that information when we're setting people up, and so we want to make sure that we have accurate information to go off of. If you are a business owner and you've given your director or other employees access, but you haven't logged into the portal yourself, any of those that have a financial administrator role can add you as another financial administrator user. You could also call the Office of Childcare provider helpline or email us, and we can help you with that as well. Once you're in, you need to review all employees' security access and then change them back to a facility administrator or worker as appropriate. After these steps are complete, then you can go to the banking information tab and enter your banking information. So first I'm gonna go back to the provider portal, and I'm just gonna show you where these security access rules are and how you can manage them. So again, you can do this, you can add people or remove people, change access roles from either the My Facilities or the My Employees tab. I'm going to start out with the My Employees tab. And I'm just going to show you from this screen how to add a person. So I want to add a new employee that's not listed already. Now it's going to ask me, so I just entered their name, first name, last name, and their email. Now it's going to ask the default facility, so there's only one. If there were multiple facilities, you would select the appropriate one, and then it's going to ask for their access role. And so you can choose, I want to give them a facility worker, facility administrator, or the financial administrator access. I just want to give them facility administrator access so they can change reports and report changes, but they won't see the banking information. And then I'm going to save it. And so you can see that I just added Brenda Test as an employee of the facility. Now you can click on Actions and edit or delete. I'm actually going to go over to the My Facilities tab just to show you the same functionality over here. So if you go into Test Daycare Center, which is the facility listed, go to Edit. And then Actions. You can edit. And so I've decided I just want her to have facility worker only access. So I'm going to change her access role to a facility worker and save it. And you can see that Brenda Test has been saved as a facility worker. And then if I want to remove someone, again, you can do it from either page, but if you've got multiple facilities, you need to remove them from each facility. You would just delete their record and save it. So next we'll talk about entering financial accounts. In order to participate in the direct deposit, you must have a routing number and an account number. The routing number is the financial institution's routing number. It's a 9-digit number. It's a standard number that your financial institution will have. And then we need to know what your account number is. Most of you have checkings or savings accounts. We can use both of those. If any of you have concerns with that or don't have one, there's other types of accounts that are acceptable, such as the Green Dot card or the American Express Bluebird card. They can be used, again, as long as we have the routing number and account number, they will work as well. So you have several options. The routing number that you enter will be verified to ensure the number is associated with a valid financial institution. The account number must be entered twice to ensure it's the correct account number. So you're responsible for entering your account number and making sure that it's correct. We have that validation in there just to make sure that you enter the correct number. We're not responsible if the wrong account number is entered. Only the last 4 digits of the account number will be viewable once you save it. And then you'll be taken to a screen where you need to agree to the DWS financial terms and conditions for your direct deposit information to be saved. Providers can add or change bank accounts. There is a 2-day minimum processing time for deposit. So when we approve the benefits at Department of Workforce Services, it takes us 2 days to go to your bank account, and then from there, depending on your banking or your financial institution's rules, it may be deposited the same day, or there may be another 1 to 2 day lag time. So you will need to talk to your financial institution about that and find out if there's any delays or when to expect your payment. But allow at least 2 days from the time that DWS approves it to the time it gets to your account minimum. We've also added a screen for you to enter your federal employee identification number if you have one. We will be issuing 1099s each year. Okay, so next we're going to do a portal demo again. This time I'm going to show you how to enter your banking information. Okay, so go to your banking screen. If you have multiple facilities, you're going to have to enter a bank account or financial account for each facility, even if you're using the same one for all of them. So again, this one just has one facility. So if you notice that on each page, there's an I want to section at the bottom. So on the banking screen, there's an I want to add a direct deposit account. So we're going to click on add a direct deposit account. We're going to add a routing number. And then select validate. And then your financial institution should come up. And if this is the correct one, you recognize this as your financial institution, click on yes. If it's not right, click on no and re-enter your routing number. But if it's right, we'll just hit yes and move forward. Now it takes you to a screen where you can add a nickname to your account, just so you don't get confused with other accounts you may have. The name on the account. And then enter your account number. Each financial institution varies. This number is not a standard number, so it could be 9 digits, 10 digits. It just depends. And then you want to confirm it. And then save it. And so it says that the bank account numbers do not match. So then you need to go back, review your account number, see what you transposed or verify what the correct number is, and then make the change. and save it. Now you have financial terms and conditions. That is a requirement that you agree to. Basically, it's saying that you'll keep your information current, that you understand that the Department of Workforce Services isn't responsible for any payments to the wrong account, that you'll report changes monthly. And again, we'll go over that in more detail at the next webinar. And that if there's any overpayment, that you'll repay that to the Department of Workforce Services. That you understand that the income that you receive is taxable. It will be reported to the IRS, and that you're responsible for any and all information provided, even if you allow someone else access, such as the financial administrator role or the financial administrator role, to make changes or report different information. And then if you click no, it just takes you back to the direct deposit account, and it does not save it. So it's mandatory that you agree to the terms to be able to participate in payment to provider. Once you do that, then you can see that your checking account has been saved. It shows that your account is active, and you're good to go. Now, if you want to change your account, maybe you're having a problem with your financial institution and you want to open an account somewhere else, you can go to the I want to section and click on activate, deactivate, or remove an existing direct deposit account. And I've added a few other ones here so you can just see what it looks like. There's several here that are marked as inactive, and then you can see the one that's currently active. When you click on actions, I'm just going to click on the top one. It says you can set it as inactive or remove it. So I'll change this one to inactive and click OK. And then maybe I want to go back to an old account that I had. So I'm going to set this one as active now and click OK. And as you can see now, the account number has changed, and it's showing the new one that you've made active. Again, if you're changing accounts, keep in mind that 2-day minimum time frame, because if most of our customers get paid on the 1st of the month, which means that we've released the funds around the 28th, 29th of the month. And so you don't want to be changing your checking account during that window of time where the funds could be rejected or something like that, and then we need to reissue them, and it will just delay your payment. And so just keep that in mind if you ever need to change your account. So just to summarize, the key points that we wanted to cover today were just how to log into the portal. Again, the URL is jobs.utah.gov/childcare. How to review or change security access rules on the My Facilities page. And then how to enter the banking information and agree to the terms to save. Our goal is to have everyone enter their account information by August 20th because payment to provider is starting in September. Most of our payments, most of you will, if you have parents who receive payments on September 1st as part of the monthly process, will continue to receive the EBT or the two-party check for the month of September. If you have any customers that have that we're processing as new application or a late review, or they've reported a change that we're acting on, they will you will receive direct deposit for those in September, starting September 1st. So September is a transition period. Again, most of your customers, just monthly ongoing open cases, they're going to get money on their EBT card. The rest will get direct deposit. As of October 1st, everyone will be direct deposit. So that's why we have the goal of August 20th to have your bank account information entered into the provider portal. The transaction history will help with that, so that when if you receive a payment in a lump sum for 5 families, you can go to the transaction history and it will give you a detailed breakdown of which families were included in that lump sum direct deposit that you'll be able to refer to, and an authorization number will be associated with each transaction that you can look up. So I'm just going to see if there's any questions pertaining to the webinar. Actually, I'm going to turn the time back over to Tracy.
Well, thanks everyone. I'm just going to quickly go back through a couple of points that Ann made from the slides that are in there, just so everybody is clear. Just starting as the key points, that the first thing that we want to make sure is that you have access to the provider portal. The provider portal is the avenue, if you haven't gotten the connection, is the avenue for us to be able to give you direct payment. So you have to have access to that provider portal. If you do not have access, make sure that you email the Office of Childcare, and our email address is occ@utah.gov, so that we can get you that access to the portal. And we would like for you to do that as soon as possible. Ann also went through the security issues with doing payment to provider. A couple of key points there. One is that the Department of Workforce Services will not be able to see your financial account information. So we want you to feel secure knowing that that information is kept confidential, and we will not be able to view that information. Going back to the identification of each role in the portal of your employees, ensuring that you have the appropriate person as your financial administrator is incredibly important for purposes of security. That individual who has financial administrator capabilities will have access to your financial account information. They can change it, they can add different accounts, they can delete it. So you need to make sure that you have the appropriate roles identified within the provider portal, so that the appropriate person has financial administrator capabilities. And I just think that that bears worth reiterating, so that you're aware of that. For your other folks who you're identifying as facility administrator or facility worker, that's up to you, and you have to enter that information, but we want you to exercise great caution in who you are giving your financial administrator information to. And then, of course, entering your financial information. There's options for those of you who might not have a traditional banking account, but as it's noted in the slides, you must have a routing number of the financial institution, and you must have an account number for your account, and that must be entered into the system as Ann explained. And we have checks in place to make sure that that information is accurate, which is why you were asked to enter it a couple of times to make sure the number is properly reported to us. And those are really the high level points for this webinar, so that we make sure that you understand how the process works, the role of the provider portal, the versatility of the provider portal, and how important it is in order for you to receive direct payment. There are some other points in here and that were mentioned as you log on to the portal: checking the terms of use for the portal to receive direct deposit of payment, including making sure that any changes to your kids occur every month, and that subject will be discussed in further detail in the next webinar. So we hope that this was informative. We are going to take some time. We've had a number of questions come in, and we are going to take some time to go answer some of those more general questions that are applicable to the majority of you. And we'll take that time now. You can continue to submit questions as long as we're still online. And we have the dates of the upcoming webinar trainings. The next one is August 12th at 12:30 p.m. and we will go in greater detail about the process for payment to provider. We'll go over the subject of provider reporting requirements and when those reporting requirements need to take place. We'll talk about the process for overpayments, and then we'll discuss, as Ann mentioned, the conversion process and the start date for payment to provider. So that's going to be the next webinar on August 12th, and we hope you can join us. And with that, we'll take some time to answer some of the questions that you have.
Do you want me to just read them out, then you all?
Sure.
Okay, great. So one of them is, under my center, there are no employee names at all. Related to that is, should we only add those we want to have access to this account?
Okay. Yes, only add those that you have that you want to have access. If you're the only one and you're good with that, then that's all that you need to worry about. If you want to add other employees, you can go to the My Facilities or the My Employees tab and add them on your own.
And remember, there's 3 different types of roles that you can identify. There's the most highest security role, which is the financial administrator role. And then the facility administrator and facility workers each have different capabilities. So you might have an employee that you want to have facility administrator capabilities. You want them to be able to see who's in your care, the children that are in your care. You might want them to even have access to identify kids who are going to be in and out of care for a particular month. And that would be a facility administrator role. And there might be some of your staff that you don't want them to have access to your financial account information, but they need to have responsibility as it relates to the children that are in your care, and maybe even looking at the payments that are coming in for those children. And you would want to identify those folks as a facility administrator.
Okay. Next question. I'm not a daycare. Caring for grandchildren. Do I need an FEIN? I've never needed one before.
No, you don't. It's really for those businesses that are established business. However, you still will receive a 1099 at the end of the year or beginning of the new year.
Next question. How will we know when what is deposited and when? Do they receive a report via email?
You will need to log into the portal to check your transaction history screen. That will be in probably the easiest way to find it will be in the reports tab. It will also be on the I want to section on several of the different pages. But when you go to the transaction history, it will show the most current month of information. So you'll be able to see, like, for example, if we were in direct deposit right now, you'd be able to see the July transactions or deposits that were made. You can click on them and view greater detail about which cases were approved. You can reference those back to the children in care screen if you want more information about the children that were approved for that benefit. Each transaction will have an authorization number, so you will be able to account for your records with that authorization number. If you need to track something from a prior month that you're looking for, you can also export that report to Excel so that you can manage it in a way that's best for your business. And that will be available when we go to direct deposit.
Okay, great. Next question. So come September, do we even have a need to run cards?
Yes, absolutely, because all payments that are issued September 1st that are ongoing cases that, there's been no interruption in their service from the previous month will still get paid with their EBT card that month.
Just for September.
For September. So yes, you still need the EBT card. Any payments, any late payments that are issued, applications, late reviews, change reporting that we're acting on in the month of September, those will all be direct deposit, but the bulk of our customers are going to receive their payments by EBT or two-party check on September 1st.
And that transition is taking place just for the month of September. By the time October starts, there will no longer be payments on EBT cards. But as I mentioned earlier, your customers will be receiving education from the Department of Workforce Services about the EBT card and when they will no longer be needing it. But during the transition month of September, some of you may be receiving, and we're going to go into greater detail about this in an upcoming webinar, some of you may be receiving payment direct deposit, and for your existing customers, EBT cards just for that month.
Will the payment info be separated into different centers if you have more than one center?
Yeah, so it will be based on facility. So that's why you need to enter your bank account information for each facility separately. And then when you go to the transaction history report, you'll be able to select the facility that you're looking for and run reports based on each separate facility.
So even though there's one entry into the portal for a particular license owner, once you get into that system, you should be individually identifying each facility underneath that license, so that the payments can be going to you based on each facility.
So clarification on the facility worker role, is that the same as their teachers? That's what they're wanting to know, even though they don't have responsibility for payments?
Well, let's go back here and try to find that screen again.
So there's 3 roles. There's a facility worker role, and these roles, the description of each of these roles show you, if you could go back one more, show you what they can see on the portal. So the identification of the roles is simply for viewing certain things on the portal. So any workers that you want to be able to see certain things on the portal need to be given roles. So as you can see, the facility worker role has the minimum amount of capabilities on the portal. They can look at the access to the children in care information, they can view our frequently asked questions, and they can email the Office of Childcare. Once you move on to the facility administrator role, they've got even additional capabilities. Now the facility administrator can also manage the facility administrators and the facility worker roles on the portal, and they can also report any changes to the Department of Workforce Services with respect to children in care. And that facility administrator can also run and view reports through the portal. And then when you get to the 3rd role within the portal, that's when you're talking about that financial administrator who should have the highest level of security in identifying.
Can I use a PayPal account?
If the account has 9 digits and is from a designated financial account and it has a routing number, it can be utilized. So if PayPal utilizes a routing number, it would be permitted. But we will check to make sure that PayPal meets all of the routing and account information requirements and get that information at a later date for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing, just to verify, you'll do an FAQ with all of these questions as well, right? Make that available, right? Okay. The funds, this is a verification. The funds will be released on the 28th and 29th of the previous month, so it's there for the 1st, correct?
There are approximate dates. I was just trying to explain that there's a 2-day window from the day that we release the funds, and they're available. In order for them to be available on the 1st, we would have to go back at least 2 days to be able to do that.
And it would depend on the bank.
But yes, but again, just because we have our 2-day turnaround time, it may take another day or two for you to actually see the money deposited into your bank. It really depends on the financial institution that you choose. Some are immediate, some require 1 to 2 business days after we've issued the funds and have done our part. So you need to contact your financial institution to find out what their deposit timeframes are. Some of them put a hold on deposits before they're actually entered into your account.
All right, so we have parents who are enrolled part-time and are receiving the amount of their case for our full enrollment price. Do we only pull the part-time rate or the whole amount you are approving?
None of that is
Sure.
going to change under payment to provider. So that's a kind of a separate issue, but in terms of payment to provider, whatever you are receiving for your customers currently through their EBT card, you will still receive through payment to provider. So this doesn't have, shouldn't have, this conversation about switching to payment to provider is not related to the rates that you're reporting in Care About Childcare.
Okay, well, I believe we've answered the majority of your questions. We appreciate your time, and if you have any additional questions after the webinar, or if you log into the portal and you have technical issues or you get stuck somewhere, please email occ@utah.gov so that we can assist you as quickly as possible and resolve those issues. This webinar is being recorded and available. We'll post it. Give us a few days to post it online, but we will send out a link to you through email letting you know where to find that. It will also be on the provider portal, so at the very least in the What's New section on the homepage of the provider portal, you'll be able to see it, how to access the recording. So thank you very much for your participation, your attendance.